Well, thank you again for the gift of your time and looking at Psalm 27, verses 1 through 11, which is the psalm reading for the second Sunday in Lent. Now, I'm focusing only on the psalm and even just a portion of the psalm, because there are times when the circumstances in which we live make this psalm the best place for us to focus, to find guidance and inspiration. I'm going to look primarily at verses 7, 8, and 9. And I want to read for you my own free translation from the Masoretic or Hebrew text, because it puts into high relief the kind of linguistic and literary aspects of the text that I want to just bear with you. And as always, avoiding interpretation, but rather explaining how the text works so that something will stick in your mind and perhaps lodge in your heart, and you take it from there and make of it something meaningful for yourself and, if you're preaching, for others. Here's my translation. Listen, Yahweh. Pay attention when I shout with my voice. Shower me with your full favor and grant my plea. Thou, says my soul, seek the presence of the holy I seek. Be not concealed, presence, from my seeking soul. Cast your devoted one not to the side. You have been the only source of my salvation, my life long. Now abandon me not. Make me not an orphan left to die in the desert. Please, God of deliverance, God who rescues the orphan. In verse 7, it begins with that word I talked about before, Shema. But notice, this is not a command to Israel, but to God. Listen, God. And then I want to say that the psalmist does what all good writers trying to evoke imagery does. He could just simply say, to my cry, but no, he adds, the cry of my voice, making it clear that this is a desperate plea. And in fact, all of this material in verses 7, 8, and 9 have this note of desperation. Another note is there below the surface. Something, by the way, that some of my monk friends in the contemplative orders have taught me. It takes not only real confidence, but real courage to demand that God attend. Think of the security that the psalmist feels in that deep relationship with Yahweh, such that it is possible to speak in imperatives, as happens throughout this entire psalm. And then something happens in verse 8 that is so interesting. And here I want to introduce you to a linguistic grammatical quandary, and you can legitimately take it either way you wish, and you will find translations that will take it either way. It begins with a interesting word meaning to thou. But now the question is the heart that is in juxtaposition with the thou internal or directed toward God? But clearly there is a prayer thou heart relationship. And so I have translated it much the way a typical Spanish translation would. And I love the phrase in Spanish, mi corazón ha dicho, my heart has spoken. It could also be that the heart speaks to the other thou. I invite you to spend some time with that. But it's so poignant and so tender and so inward. It is actually betraying that there is an I-thou dialogue that's going on that goes both ways. Now, in the last of the verses I want to consider, verse 9, here's something absolutely remarkable. Every one of the sentences, and they are sentences within this verse, begin with no, not the negative sign. No, 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 4 times. And in perfect symmetry, after the second no there is a little brief a little brief statement of confidence referring to the history between the I and the thou. And that history is my life long. I've never been betrayed in my trust. Other things take place. There's a particular verb used about the face of God being concealed, and there it's in what we call the niphal, which means it's a reflexive. It's not the face of God being hidden because I'm not praying hard enough or don't see that face, but please don't hide your own face. At the very end, we have this remarkable statement about God of my salvation, and there I want to tell you that both the verb and the noun, the deliverer and to deliver, is that word that eventually becomes the name of Jesus, Yeshua, and that ends it. Now, this is an absolutely remarkable plea in desperation, and unless I am misreading everything that's going on around us, we are into a period of desperation on many fronts that frustrate us. Just to add a little addendum, one of the alternative gospel readings is the Transfiguration. And it does this because some churches don't actually do anything about the Transfiguration. Remember, I do have a recording up about the Transfiguration in Luke. So if that's the text that you choose to use on this particular Sunday, I respectfully suggest that you go back and view that video. It's great to be with you. And let me tell you, this past week, every day and part of the night, this psalm has stuck in my heart and given me much to think about. And I hope this brief introduction has done the same for you. Take care.